My daughter didn't cry when I walked through the door. She didn't run to me. Didn't even lift her head. She just sat on the living room floor. Knees tucked to her chest, small hands pressed against the sides of her skull like she was trying to hold herself together. It took me a full second to understand what I was looking at. And when I did, the air left my lungs in a slow, controlled exhale. Her hair, her long, soft, waist-length hair she'd grown since she was 3 was gone. Shaved down to the skin. Patchy. Jagged. Violent. My mother-in-law stood behind her with her arms crossed, chin raised as if she'd performed some holy act. She needed obedience, she said. As if obedience is something you carve out of a child. My daughter finally looked up at me. First her reflection betrayed her. Then her grandmother. Now she waited to see if I would break. I didn't. I crouched, took her trembling hands. No yelling, no theatrics. And I asked one question. Where's your mother? She's in the kitchen, my mother-in-law said, bored. She agrees with me. A lie. I felt it immediately, thin, sharp, sliding under the skin. My daughter collapsed into my arms then, sobbing because she was finally safe. I didn't soothe her with words. I didn't waste breath. I lifted her gently and said only, "We're leaving." No bag. No shoes. No explanation. I walked past them both with my daughter's shaved head pressed into my shoulder, and in the quiet doorway, a truth whispered to me. Something deeper was broken. My wife arrived home 3 hours later, the kind of late that feels like a hospital corridor. Her excuses were ready before she even opened her mouth. I didn't know, she said. But her eyes told a different story. Not guilt. Not confusion. Fear. Fear of who? Her mother? Or me? My daughter was asleep on the couch, a too big hat pulled over her head. I didn't look at my wife when I asked, "Where were you?" "With Mom," she said too fast. Too polished. The lie had seams. I wanted to believe her. I wanted the simple version. Her mother snapped, "She wasn't there, we'd fix it." But betrayal doesn't introduce itself. It flickers in the hesitation. The hollow apology. The way she wouldn't step closer to her own child. Later, when she thought I wasn't watching, I saw her texting someone. Hands shaking. I memorized the rhythm of her thumbs. Fast, urgent, afraid. When she noticed me in the doorway, she flinched. That was the moment suspicion stopped whispering. Took shape. I didn't confront her. Not when she pretended to sleep next to me. Not when she avoided the bathroom mirror. Not when she kissed our daughter's forehead, but refused to meet her eyes. Instead, I investigated quietly. Phone records. Deleted call logs. Messages recovered from backups. She didn't know I could access her mother's texts. He can't find out. Act upset tomorrow. My pulse didn't change. Emotion is a luxury when you're cataloging betrayal. Then came the clinic receipts, hidden in my wife's email drafts. A pediatric consult scheduled 3 weeks earlier, not by me, not by our daughter, by her mother. And most telling, a rushed appointment under my wife's number the morning of the shaving. Cancelled minutes before it happened. Cancelled because the lesson had already been planned. My mother-in-law wasn't acting alone. She was the executioner, not the architect. The truth crystallized slowly, painfully. My wife didn't just know. She agreed. Not because of our daughter. Because of me. Control. That was the point. And my daughter, my gentle, soft-voiced 8-year-old, was collateral. By the time I closed the laptop, the rage inside me was no longer fire. It was steel. Courtrooms are colder than hospitals. When the judge asked for evidence, I didn't speak. I simply placed the documents on the table one by one. The texts. The appointment logs. The photos. Statements from neighbors who heard the screams. My wife's face paled with every page. My mother-in-law tried to interrupt. The judge silenced her with a raised hand. And then came the final page. A message from my wife. Just do it while he's at work. She buried her face in her hands. The judge stared at her with an icy level calm. You were complicit. My wife sobbed. My mother-in-law crumbled. I stayed still. Stillness is its own kind of violence. When the judge asked if I intended to pursue custody, I slid an envelope across the table. The petition I'd filed 2 days earlier, right after my daughter whispered the truth into my chest. My wife looked at me then, broken, pleading, small. Please, she whispered. I didn't mean. I tilted my head. You shaved a child to win an argument. Silence. Sharp and final. In the hallway she followed me. Don't take her, she begged. She's my daughter. No, I said quietly. She was your mother's project. She grabbed my arm. I didn't move. I can fix this, she whispered. I'll leave my mom. I swear. I turned to her fully for the first time since that night. You made your choice long before the judge did. Her breath stuttered. I placed a final document in her hands. A restraining order draft. Sign it. And someday maybe you'll get visitation. She choked out. This is punishment. No, I said. This is consequence. My mother-in-law approached, desperate, shaking. You can't do this, she hissed. She's family. You stopped being family, I said. The moment you touched my child. I walked away. I didn't look back. Some revenge is loud. Mine was quiet. Clinical. A scalpel, not a bomb. My daughter sleeps beside me now. Her head covered with a soft cotton cap she chose herself. She doesn't look at mirrors yet. She will when she's ready. I sit in the hallway outside her room, listening to her breathing. The house feels lighter now. Cleaner. Honest. I don't miss my wife. I don't miss the version of her I built to keep a peace that never existed. People think betrayal arrives in shouting, but it usually slips in silently, in consent, in silence, in looking away. My wife looked away from our daughter. I never will again. As I turn off the hallway light, one final truth settles in my chest with brutal clarity. Hair grows back. Trust doesn't. And I will never hand mine to the wrong person again.